They're agnostic. They're evil. And you believe in God. You put your faith and trust in the Lord Jesus Christ, and you are suffering at every turn. Nothing is working out. And then you get to the point where you curse God because of your envy of the wicked. And you think that God is blessing them. No, he's not blessing them. He's fattening them up for the kill. He is strengthening to accommodate a better atmosphere that you get to embark and step into when you leave this earth. Do not look for your good things in this life. Remember the rich man and Lazarus? The rich man, Abraham told the rich man, "Sir, remember in your life you had good things, and now you must suffer." And Lazarus, who suffered in his life, now has his good things, and he has this in eternity. You and I are Lazarus. You need to understand that the way the world thinks is diametrically opposed to the way spiritual things are and the way things are in the spiritual world. But the only way you can know that is if you don't have a fuzzy perspective of the Lord. The disciples in Matthew 14, verse 26, when they saw Jesus walking on water, they said, "It is a ghost." And they were fearful. They thought he was a ghost. Their vision was clouded. They didn't see the substance of the person and the being that Jesus Christ is. They didn't understand his divinity works in every scenario. Think about this for a second. When Jesus Christ was on earth, when he walked around with the disciples, everywhere that they went, they never questioned whether or not he was real. They didn't doubt if he was real. They didn't second guess as to whether or not he was a ghost or an apparition or a phantasm. They never questioned that about him when they walked with him. But they didn't know who he was outside of him just being a man who seems to have some divine favor. Things didn't register as well, but they never counted him a ghost. They were never afraid of him that way, like it says they were when they saw him walking on water. But seeing Christ walking around in human flesh on earth, on the ground, eating and drinking and carrying on like regular men, they never questioned him being a ghost. But seeing him that way wasn't his natural affinity. This was something new. But then when they see Christ walking on water, which requires suspending the natural order, they conclude that they are seeing a ghost. Because there's no way possible that the man that they were walking with on the ground, on dry land, is the same man that's walking on the sea. And that was Jesus's natural habitat, so to speak. In other words, doing things outside of the natural order, because he was divine, and he always has been, and he is yet now divine. So when he was in his element, they didn't recognize him. They saw him as a ghost. But when he was outside of his element, in human flesh, walking around with them, he was just a man to them. But now they begin to have their eyes open. He begins to show them who he is. He's walking on water. And it's amazing. They didn't see him as the divine Son of God as he is. They just saw him as a regular man. And so this should be a big, big lesson to us all. Do not let circumstances that are concluded, do not conclude from circumstances that your sight is deceiving you. We are told everything we need to know about Christ. Now all we have to do is to believe it, regardless of the circumstances. Don't let circumstances dictate how you assess him. Don't let your circumstances cloud your vision about Jesus Christ. Do not let your eyes deceive you. You must be led by the Spirit and not by the flesh. And not with your physical eyes, but by the eyes of faith. That is how you maintain a steady, practical relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ, who seeks nothing else other than your good. Prayer, you may ask God to change or to give something to you. You may ask God, why did you take my kid? Why did you take my job? Why did you take my friend? Why did you take my wife? Why did you take? Why did you do this? Why am I sick? Why is that person sick? There are a lot of things. Let's put it to you this way. When you go to get into your car, you have a key, you plug it into an ignition, and you turn it, and you take it for granted that that car must start. Not knowing all of the intricacies that are involved with the parts and the aspects that get that car to turn on and do what it does. Same thing with planes or trains or whatever. Making a car is a complex situation. Somebody designs it. People determine all the parts that all the parts need to be approved. They need to be fireproof. They need to have safety requirements. You have all these things just to run a car, so that when you start it, it just fires up. And we all take it for granted that the car is going to start when I start it. But man, when it doesn't, and if we try to start that car just before going to work and we're already going to be late and it doesn't start, we go into a frenzy, cursing and swearing up a storm. Well, think about this for a second. This is just being analogous. But imagine the sovereign creator of the universe with billions of people on the earth at a given time. All people who